My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 28 years old. 3 months ago, I thought I knew exactly where my life was heading. I had a boyfriend I loved. We had been together for 18 months. We talked about moving in together. We spent holidays with each other's families. We argued about stupid things like where to order dinner from and which streaming show to watch before falling asleep. I genuinely believed Ethan Brooks was my future. Now, when I think back, I wonder if the cracks were there all along. Maybe they were. Maybe I just didn't want to see them. The text arrived on a Saturday afternoon. Come to my place tonight at 7:30. Surprise? I stared at it and smiled. My birthday. A surprise? The answer seemed obvious. Ethan had never been particularly good at planning things. The idea that he had actually organized a surprise birthday celebration made me feel strangely emotional. For the rest of the afternoon, I walked around with the stupid grin of someone who felt loved. I even stopped by a florist on the way. Not because it was my birthday, because I wanted to bring flowers to Ethan and thank him for whatever he had planned. That's the kind of mood I was in. Happy, grateful, completely unaware that my entire relationship was about to explode. At exactly 7:30 p.m., I unlocked Ethan's apartment door with the key he had given me months earlier. The apartment was dark. I smiled. Of course, part of the surprise? I stepped inside. Then the lights came on. Surprise! The shout echoed through the room. Balloons covered the ceiling. A huge birthday banner stretched across the wall. Champagne bottles sat on the kitchen counter. Nearly 20 people stood around, smiling. For 1 second, I thought it was all for me. Then I noticed nobody was looking at me. Every face was pointed towards someone standing beside Ethan. A woman, tall, pretty, blonde, holding Ethan's hand. Madison Reed, his ex-girlfriend. The room went completely silent. The kind of silence that physically hurts. Madison noticed me first. Her smile faded. Ethan turned. The color immediately drained from his face. I could actually watch the realization hit him. Like a car crash happening in slow motion. "Oh my God," he whispered. I stood there frozen. Not because I didn't understand, because I understood perfectly. Madison's birthday was November 2nd. Mine was November 2nd. Ethan had mentioned it once. Early in our relationship, he thought it was funny that we shared the same birthday. Apparently funny enough to forget which woman he was currently dating. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 20 people staring at me, waiting, expecting a scene, maybe expecting screaming, crying, thrown drinks. Reality, television, chaos. Instead, I walked forward, slowly, calmly. Every step made Ethan look more terrified. Madison looked confused. The guests looked uncomfortable. I stopped in front of her. Then I extended my hand. "Happy birthday." Madison blinked. "What?" "Happy birthday," I repeated. She hesitated before shaking my hand. "Thank you." I nodded. Then I looked at Ethan. The man who was supposed to know me better than anyone. The man who had forgotten my birthday while planning a celebration for his ex. Nice party. His mouth opened. No words came out. I turned around and walked toward the door. The silence behind me was deafening. I heard someone whisper, "Holy crap." Another person muttered, "No way." Then the apartment door closed behind me. I made it halfway to my car before I heard footsteps. "Olivia." I kept walking. "Olivia." Wait. The building door slammed open. I turned. Ethan was running toward me. Behind him, Madison stood near the entrance, looking completely lost. Ethan nearly stumbled, trying to catch up. "Please," he said. "Please wait." I unlocked my car. "Olivia." I got inside. He reached the window just before I started the engine. Panic flooded his face. "I'm sorry." I didn't answer. It was a mistake. Still nothing. He knocked on the glass. I got confused. That finally made me look at him. Confused. The word actually made me laugh. A short, humorless laugh. I lowered the window 2 inches. "You got confused?" "Yes." His voice cracked. "I thought your birthday was next week." I stared at him. Then I stared at Madison standing near the building. Then back at Ethan. You threw your ex-girlfriend a birthday party on my birthday. Olivia, after dating me for 18 months. I know. And somehow I'm supposed to believe you got confused. Tears formed in his eyes. We can fix this. I shook my head. No. Please. We're done. His entire body seemed to collapse. You can't mean that. I absolutely can. Olivia, you planned a celebration for another woman? His face tightened. She's not just another woman. The second the words left his mouth, he realized his mistake. So did I. The silence between us stretched. Painful, revealing, devastating. I nodded slowly. Thank you. For what? For finally being honest. I rolled up the window, started the car, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw Ethan standing motionless under the parking lot lights. Madison walked toward him. He didn't move. For the first time since I met him, he looked genuinely afraid. I got home 20 minutes later. The apartment felt strangely quiet. I sat in the darkness. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just sat there. 10 minutes passed. Then my phone exploded. Ethan. Again. And again. And again. Messages poured in. Please answer. I made a mistake. Let me explain. You're overreacting. That last message made me smile. Overreacting. Right. I blocked his number. Then, another realization hit me. Ethan still had a key. I looked around my apartment. His clothes, his shoes, his books, his toothbrush, his charger, his favorite coffee mug. Over the last 6 months, he had slowly been moving pieces of his life into my home, as if he already lived there. At 11:40 și 7 p.m. I called an emergency locksmith. I need my locks changed tonight. The woman on the phone sounded surprised. Tonight? Yes. It'll cost extra. I don't care. By 12:30 a.m. I was packing. Every item that belonged to Ethan went into boxes. The more I packed, the angrier I became. Not loud anger. Cold anger. The dangerous kind. The kind that creates clarity. At 11:50 a.m. The locksmith arrived. By 2:25 a.m. Every lock in my apartment had been replaced. At 2:30 a.m. I created a temporary number and sent Ethan one final message. Your belongings are packed. Pick them up before Friday, or they'll be donated. Your key no longer works. Goodbye. Then I blocked that number too. For the first time, all night, silence returned. I climbed into bed, and despite everything that had happened, I slept better than I had in weeks. What I didn't know was that the birthday party wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning. Sunday morning began with violence against my front door. Not actual violence. Not yet. Just fists pounding hard enough to rattle the frame. I woke up at 7:15 a.m. to the sound of someone trying to beat my apartment awake. For a second, I forgot everything. Then it all came back. The dark apartment, the balloons, the banner, Madison's confused face, Ethan holding her hand. I sat up slowly, listening. Another round of pounding. Olivia opened the door. Ethan. Of course. I got out of bed, pulled on a robe, and walked to the door. Through the peephole, I saw him standing there with red eyes, messy hair, and the same hoodie he'd worn the night before. Beside him stood his best friend, Brooke. She looked furious. I opened the door but kept the chain on. What? Ethan stepped forward. We need to talk. No. We don't. Brooke crossed her arms. You can't just end things like this. I looked at her. I can. I did. Ethan's eyes filled instantly. Please. Olivia. I love you. I stared at him through the gap in the door. You should have remembered that last night. His mouth trembled. It was an accident. Brooke jumped in. Exactly. It was a mistake. You're throwing away 18 months over one mistake. I laughed once. One mistake. Yes. He threw his ex-girlfriend A surprise birthday party on my birthday while dating me. Brooke's confidence flickered. Still. She lifted her chin. He got confused. Then he can be confused somewhere else. Ethan wiped his face. Please. Let me inside. No. All my stuff is in there. It's packed by the door. His eyes shifted past me, toward the boxes stacked in my living room. You really packed everything? Yes. Where am I supposed to go? That question made me pause, not because I felt guilty, because the wording was strange. You have an apartment. His face changed, barely, but I saw it. Brooke answered too quickly. That's not the point. I looked between them. No. I think it is. Ethan swallowed. I've been staying here half the time. You were invited here. You don't live here. We talked about moving in. We talked. We didn't agree. His expression twisted. You can't just kick me out. You're not on the lease. Your name is on nothing. Brooke scoffed. Wow. So that's it. That's it. I looked at Ethan. You have until Friday to collect your things. His voice broke. Olivia. Please. Friday. I closed the door. Locked it. They knocked for another 15 minutes. Then they left. I thought the worst part of the morning was over. I was wrong. Monday at 9:30 a.m. My boss called me into his office. The moment I saw his expression, I knew something was off. Close the door, he said. I did. He folded his hands on his desk. I received a strange call this morning. My stomach tightened. From who? A woman, claiming to be your boyfriend's mother. I closed my eyes. What did she say? That you threw her son out onto the street, and that she was concerned about your mental state. For a moment, I just stared at him. Then I explained everything. The party, Madison, the birthday, the breakup, the locks, the boxes. By the time I finished, my boss leaned back and let out a quiet laugh. She called your workplace over a breakup. Apparently, I told her this is not a work matter and not to contact the office again. Thank you. He nodded. But I wanted you to know. She may try again. That evening, when I got home, I found scratches around my new lock. Tiny silver lines cut into the metal. My pulse went cold. I checked the hallway camera. There he was. Ethan. 4:40 p.m. He walked up to my door. Tried his old key. Jiggled it. Tried again. Then froze when it wouldn't turn. He looked around the hallway like a child caught stealing. Then he left. I saved the footage. Tuesday morning. An unknown number texted me. You need to give me my key back. I stared at the message. Then replied once. That key doesn't work anymore. Come get your stuff. His response came fast. I can't move all that stuff. I don't have anywhere to put it. You have until Friday. I'm calling the police. You can't steal my belongings. Go ahead. Then explain why you tried to enter my apartment yesterday at 4:48 p.m. No response. Wednesday evening. 2 police officers knocked on my door. Mom? We received a call about a domestic situation. I already knew. Ethan Brooks. One officer nodded. He says you're holding his belongings hostage. His belongings are packed right there. I opened the door wider and showed them the boxes. Then I showed the text, the deadline, the breakup messages, the security footage of Ethan trying to use his key after being told it no longer worked. The older officer watched quietly. Then he sighed. Seems reasonable. The younger officer spoke into his radio. Her belongings are packed and available for pickup. The voice on the other end screeched loud enough that I could hear it. The officer winced. Sir, you have until Friday to collect them. That's generous. More shouting. No. Sir, we can't force her to let you inside. No. Sir, you don't live here. I stood there, silently. The older officer looked at me. Keep documenting everything. I will. After they left, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered against my better judgment. How dare you call the police on my son? Ethan's mother. I didn't call anyone. Ethan did. You are destroying him. No. He did that himself. He has nowhere to go. He has an apartment. There was a pause. Then she said something that shifted the entire floor under me. No. He doesn't. I went still. What? His lease is up. He gave notice because you two were moving in together. My grip tightened around the phone. We were not moving in together. You talked about it for months. Talking about something isn't agreeing to it. You led him on. I never told him to end his lease. He thought, that's the problem. He thought. He didn't confirm. Her voice sharpened. You're cruel. Tell him to get his things by Friday. I hung up, blocked her number, then sat down at my kitchen table. For the first time, I understood how far Ethan's assumptions had gone. He had not just forgotten my birthday. He had built an entire life in his head, and expected me to accept it. Thursday morning. Madison Reed called me. I almost didn't answer, but something told me I should. Olivia. Yes. It's Madison. My chest tightened. I don't want drama. Neither do I, she said quickly. That's why I'm calling. I stayed silent. She inhaled shakily. Ethan told me you two broke up. My heart dropped. When, about 3 weeks ago. I stood up slowly. He told you we broke up 3 weeks ago. Yes. He said it was mutual. He said he still cared about me, and wanted to see if there was something left between us. The room seemed to tilt. Nothing physical happened. Madison added quickly. I swear. But we were talking. Spending time together. I thought he was single. I pressed my palm against the counter. Did he invite you to the party? He planned the whole thing. He said he wanted to make up for missing my birthday last year. A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me. Of course he did. Madison's voice softened. When you walked in, I knew something was wrong. Your face said everything. That's why I left right after you did. I didn't know that. I wanted nothing to do with it. Thank you for telling me. There's more. I closed my eyes. What? He's telling people you're abusive. That you isolated him from his friends. Made him dependent on you? And then kicked him out the second he upset you. My stomach turned, Madison continued. He also texted me saying, if I went along with that story, we could still be together. For several seconds, I couldn't speak. Then I said, please save those messages. I already did. That afternoon, building management contacted me. They had received an anonymous complaint about screaming and fighting from my apartment the night before, except I had been asleep by 1030, alone. I asked them to check entry logs. They confirmed nobody had entered or left my unit during the claimed time. The complaint was marked false. Friday morning. Ethan's mother and Brooke arrived with a rented U-Haul. I let them in just enough to reach the boxes. Ethan wasn't with them. Coward. His mother looked around my apartment with disgust. This is cruel. I said nothing. My son is homeless because of you. No. Your son gave notice on his apartment, without confirming he could live here. You promised him. I said we could talk about it. You knew what he thought. I am not responsible for what he invented. Brooke glared at me while carrying a box. You'll regret this. I looked at her. No. I don't think I will. They loaded everything while Ethan's mother narrated my supposed cruelty, like she was recording a documentary. When the last box disappeared into the elevator, she turned back. He's getting a lawyer. Good. You're going to pay for what you've done. Tell his lawyer to contact mine. She sneered. You don't have one. I will, if I need one. I closed the door. By Saturday afternoon, I needed one. A certified letter arrived from a law office. Ethan was demanding $10. Sembe. Relocation costs. Storage fees. Emotional distress. The letter claimed I had verbally agreed to let him move in, that he had relied on that agreement, and that I had maliciously withdrawn it after humiliating him. I read the letter twice. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. By Monday morning, My lawyer's response was sent. It said Ethan had ended his lease based on an assumption that no agreement existed, that I had given him reasonable time to collect his belongings, and that the relationship ended because Ethan threw a birthday party for his ex-girlfriend on my birthday while lying to that ex-girlfriend about being single. The final line was my favorite. Any further contact will be treated as harassment. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe, but Ethan was not done. Not even close. I should have known the lawyer's letter wouldn't stop Ethan. People who are embarrassed sometimes apologize. People who are caught lying sometimes disappear. But people who are desperate to avoid responsibility, they usually double down. Ethan doubled down. Monday afternoon. His attorney called. My attorney. The conversation lasted less than 10 minutes. Later. My lawyer summarized it for me. He wants money. I laughed. Still. Now he's willing to drop the emotional distress claim if you cover relocation expenses. Which relocation expenses? The apartment he voluntarily gave up. I rubbed my forehead. And your response? My response was, no. Good. He has no case. Olivia. I wished that mattered. Because winning legally and finding peace are two completely different things. Tuesday evening. I was shopping for groceries when someone grabbed my cart. I turned around. Brooke. Again. Her expression looked like she'd spent the last week fueling herself entirely on outrage. We need to talk. No. You ruined his life. I immediately started pushing the cart forward. She followed. He is living with his parents because of you. No. I turned into another aisle. He is living with his parents because he ended his lease without confirming where he was going. You promised him. I absolutely did not. She moved in front of my cart. Several shoppers slowed down to watch. You're a horrible person. I looked at her calmly. Move. No. Move. Not until you admit what you did. Store security appeared before I could answer. Apparently following someone through multiple aisles while yelling attracts attention. Who knew? A security guard stepped between us. Mom? You need to leave. Brooke pointed at me dramatically. She's the problem. The guard wasn't interested. A few minutes later, she was escorted out of the store. As she disappeared through the front doors, she shouted one last thing. You're going to get what's coming to you. At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. Unfortunately, that turned out to be foreshadowing. Wednesday morning. 2 detectives arrived at my apartment. The moment I saw them, my stomach dropped. One detective showed me a notepad. We need to ask you about some allegedly stolen property. What property? A laptop, tablet, and camera equipment. I blinked. What? Your ex-boyfriend claims you took them from his apartment. For several seconds, I genuinely couldn't speak. Then I laughed. The detectives exchanged glances. What's funny? I've never been to his apartment. They stared. What? I mean literally, never. Ethan spent time here. I didn't spend time there. The younger detective looked down at his notes. So you're saying you've never entered his residence? Correct. I immediately pulled up security footage. Then photographs. Then the moving day footage. The U-Haul. The boxes. Ethan's mother. Brooke. Everything. The detectives watched carefully. Did he claim anything was missing when he collected these belongings? No. The older detective sighed. We'll follow up. Before leaving, he paused. If this report is false, there could be consequences. The moment the door closed, I called my lawyer. He's filed a false police report. Document everything. That's your advice. Yes. Aren't you angry? I am. But every lie helps us. I hated that he was right. Thursday morning brought a new surprise. My office security desk called. There's a man in the lobby asking for you. I froze. Who? Ethan Brooks. My pulse spiked. Don't let him upstairs. We haven't. I'll come down. When the elevator doors opened into the lobby, I immediately spotted him. Unfortunately, he wasn't alone. His mother stood beside him. The moment she saw me, she marched forward. We need to talk. No. Ethan looked exhausted. His eyes were bloodshot. His clothes looked wrinkled. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered the false police report. The lies. The harassment. The workplace calls. The sympathy vanished. Olivia, he said quietly. No. Please. No. His mother stepped forward. You have no idea what you've done to him. I know exactly what he's done to himself. Ethan's jaw tightened. Everything has fallen apart. I folded my arms. Interesting. His face twitched. You think this is funny? No. I think it's predictable. His mother pointed a finger at me. You got the police involved. He filed the false report. You got him investigated. He reported a fake crime. You ruined his reputation. He lied. Security guards were watching now. One of them slowly moved closer. Ethan suddenly took a step toward me. Please. The desperation in his voice sounded genuine. I have nowhere to go. I stared at him. You live with your parents. Temporarily. Then stay there. His eyes filled with tears. Just let me stay with you until I figure things out. The audacity of the request nearly took my breath away. I actually looked around to see if someone was filming a prank. You're serious? Please. No. Olivia. No. Just a few weeks. No. His mother's voice rose. Where is he supposed to go? Somewhere that isn't my apartment. Security finally intervened. Mom. Sid. You need to leave. Ethan looked devastated. His mother looked furious. Neither mattered. 5 minutes later, they were gone. 20 minutes after that, my boss called me into his office. Again. He looked exhausted. Your ex-boyfriend's mother called. I closed my eyes. Again. Again. What did she say this time? That you're terrorizing her son. I laughed. A sharp, tired laugh. My boss shook his head. If she contacts us again, we're pursuing harassment complaints. Thank you. Just keep documenting everything. That phrase had become the theme song of my life. Document everything. Friday evening. Madison texted me. Heads up. I called immediately. What's happening? Ethan is telling everyone that you got him evicted and that police are investigating you. I wasn't even surprised anymore. Wonderful. I thought you should know. Thank you. He keeps trying to contact me, too. My stomach tightened. What does he want? He wants me to publicly support his story. I laughed bitterly. Good luck with that. He doesn't seem to understand that I know he lied. After we hung up, I sat quietly on my couch. Something felt different. Not better. Worse. Like the situation was building towards something. And unfortunately, I was right. Sunday morning, at 2:15 a.m. I woke to the sound of glass exploding. For one terrifying second, I thought someone had broken into the apartment. Then, I saw the shattered living room window. A brick sat on the floor. Police arrived 20 minutes later. No witnesses. No cameras at that angle. No suspects. Monday morning brought another surprise. Someone had keyed my car. One long, ugly scratch stretched across the driver's side. The word abuser was carved into the paint. Nearly $2,000 in damage. Building security footage showed a person wearing a hoodie at 3:30 a.m. No visible face. No identification. No proof. But I had my suspicions. Tuesday afternoon. I received a text from an unknown number. Stop ruining my life, or this gets worse. I stared at the message, then immediately forwarded it to my lawyer, and filed another police report. Now, my evidence folder had become ridiculous. Screenshots, videos, reports, photos, witness statements. I didn't know it then. But every piece would soon matter. Because Wednesday morning arrived, and with it came the biggest surprise of all. Ethan had filed for a restraining order against me. According to his petition, I was stalking him, harassing him, threatening him, trying to destroy his life. I sat in my lawyer's office, reading the paperwork, then looked up. Is this real? Unfortunately, he filed this. Yes. He filed a false theft report. harassed me for weeks, showed up at my office. And now he's claiming I'm stalking him. My lawyer nodded. Correct. I laughed so hard, I almost cried. The hearing was scheduled immediately. The following morning, my lawyer organized our evidence. Every text, every police report, every witness statement, every security recording, every workplace complaint. By midnight, the conference room table looked like a crime investigation board. My lawyer leaned back in his chair. He just made the biggest mistake of his life. I looked at the mountain of evidence. Why? Because now a judge gets to see all of it. For the first time in weeks, I felt something strange. Hope. Meanwhile, somewhere in the city, Ethan was preparing his story, and in less than 12 hours, one of us was about to lose everything. The courthouse smelled like old paper, stale coffee, and bad decisions. By 8:30 a.m., I was sitting beside my attorney in a courtroom that felt far too small for everything that had happened over the previous 5 weeks. Across the room sat Ethan. Beside him was his lawyer. His mother occupied the seat directly behind them. The moment she saw me, she glared. I ignored her. At this point, her anger had become background noise. Ethan looked different than he had when I first met him. Different than he had even a month earlier. He looked exhausted, older, like the weight of every lie was finally catching up with him. For a brief moment, our eyes met. He looked away first. The judge entered. Everyone stood, then the hearing began. The judge opened Ethan's petition and started reading. The silence in the room became almost unbearable. Finally, she looked up. Mr. Brooks, you claim Ms. Carter has been stalking and harassing you. Yes, Your Honor. His voice sounded small. The judge nodded. What evidence do you have? Ethan cleared his throat. She keeps showing up places where I am. The judge raised an eyebrow. Examples. The grocery store. The courtroom became very quiet. The grocery store, the judge repeated. Yes. You mean the grocery store where security removed your friend after she followed Ms. Carter through multiple aisles? Ethan froze. His attorney shifted uncomfortably. The judge continued. Anything else? Ethan hesitated. She got me evicted. I closed my eyes. Not again. The judge looked confused. How exactly did she accomplish that? I was supposed to move in with her. Were you? Yes. The judge turned toward me. Ms. Carter, did you agree to allow Mr. Brooks to move into your residence? No. Your Honor, did you sign any documents? No. Any written agreement? No. The judge looked back at Ethan. Do you have proof of such an agreement? His silence lasted several seconds. We talked about it. The judge folded her hands. Talking about something is not the same as agreeing to it. Ethan's face turned red. The judge continued reviewing documents. Then she stopped. Her expression changed. Mr. Brooks, did you file a police report claiming Ms. Carter stole your electronics? His attorney visibly tensed. Yes. The judge lifted another document. According to the detective's findings, all property was accounted for. No answer. The report was closed as unfounded. Still no answer. The judge slowly removed her glasses. That was the moment I knew things were going badly for him. Very badly. She looked directly at him. Is there any evidence supporting your accusations? Nothing. Not a single thing. Finally, my attorney stood. Your Honor, may I present evidence? Please. What happened next felt less like a hearing and more like an avalanche. The security footage of Ethan attempting to enter my apartment after the breakup, the text messages, the false complaints filed against my apartment, the repeated calls to my workplace, the testimony from management, the police reports, the threatening text message, the photographs of my damaged vehicle, the report regarding the brick through my window, the documentation from detectives regarding the false theft allegations, every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to rewrite reality. Anna B1. The judge reviewed everything. At one point, she actually stopped and looked over the top of her glasses. Mr. Brooks, why did your mother repeatedly contact Ms. Carter's employer? Ethan looked helplessly at his attorney. No answer came. The judge turned another page. Why did you attempt to access her apartment after being informed your key no longer worked? Nothing. Another page. Why did you falsely report stolen property? Nothing. His attorney finally leaned over and whispered something. It was probably the legal version of stop talking. The judge sat quietly for nearly a minute. Then she looked at me. Ms. Carter, do you have anything you'd like to add? I stood. My hands were steady. Surprisingly steady. I never wanted any of this. The courtroom became silent. I walked away from the relationship the night I discovered what happened. I looked briefly toward Ethan. He couldn't meet my eyes. I changed my locks. Packed his belongings. Gave him time to collect them. I tried to move on. My voice remained calm, but every time I took a step away, he found another way to drag me back. The judge nodded slowly. I sat down. Another long silence followed. Then the judge delivered her decision. Mr. Brooks. Ethan looked up. I am denying your petition. His face immediately fell. But she wasn't finished. Furthermore, every person in the room seemed to freeze. The judge turned another page. Based upon the evidence presented, I find that Ms. Carter has been subjected to ongoing harassment. My attorney smiled, very slightly. Therefore, I am granting a restraining order in favor of Ms. Carter. Ethan looked stunned. His mother gasped. The judge continued. You are ordered to remain 100 yards away from Ms. Carter, her residence, and her workplace. Ethan's face went completely white. No contact. Direct or indirect. His mother stood halfway from her chair. This isn't fair. Sit down. The judge's voice cracked through the room like thunder. His mother sat immediately. The judge returned her attention to Ethan. Violation of this order will result in arrest. Tears appeared in his eyes. Do you understand? A long pause. Then a whisper. Yes. Court is adjourned. The gavel struck. And just like that, it was over. Or so I thought. Outside the courthouse, Ethan's mother exploded. The second we stepped into the parking lot, she began screaming. You're destroying him. My attorney immediately moved between us. Several people stopped walking to watch. You ruined his future. Mom? My attorney warned. You manipulated everything. Mom? Her finger pointed directly at me. You'll regret this. At that moment, something unexpected happened. I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No guilt. Nothing. Because for the first time, I understood something important. Their chaos no longer belonged to me. They eventually left, still shouting, still blaming, still refusing to accept reality. 5 weeks later, the dust finally settled. The investigation into my vandalized car never produced an arrest. Insurance covered the damage. Additional security cameras covered every angle around my apartment. The brick incident remained unsolved. The threatening text led nowhere, but the restraining order, that was different. 8 days after it was issued, Ethan violated it. Security at my apartment building spotted him near the entrance. Police responded. He was arrested. He spent a night in jail. The court extended the restraining order. 2 years. Apparently, consequences finally became real. Once handcuffs entered the conversation, his situation continued deteriorating. According to mutual friends, living with his parents became miserable. His mother blamed everyone except him. Legal fees piled up. The failed court case became a source of constant conflict inside their house. Madison wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. She blocked him everywhere. Whenever people asked about the birthday party, she told the truth. He had lied to her. He had lied to me. Most people eventually figured it out. Friends who attended the party remembered exactly what happened. They remembered me walking into the apartment, carrying flowers. They remembered my face. They remembered Ethan's panic. They remembered me calmly, wishing Madison a happy birthday before leaving. No amount of rewriting history could erase 20 witnesses. His lawyer eventually withdrew. Apparently, discovering your client has omitted important facts tends to damage professional relationships. As for me, life became wonderfully quiet, the kind of quiet I used to take for granted. No surprise accusations. No unknown numbers. No police reports. No drama. Just peace. A few weeks later, a friend introduced me to someone. His name was Ryan Mitchell. Gint. Funny. Normal. The kind of normal that suddenly felt extraordinary. By our third date, he asked about my previous relationship, so I told him everything. The birthday party, the lies, the courtroom, the restraining order. When I finished, Ryan stared at me, then laughed. Not at me, at the absurdity. Wait. What? He threw a surprise birthday party for his ex-girlfriend on your birthday? Yes. Ryan shook his head. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I laughed harder than I had in months. Because he was right. It was ridiculous. The biggest lesson wasn't about betrayal. It wasn't about courtrooms. It wasn't even about Ethan. It was about that moment at the party. The moment I chose not to scream, not to argue, not to create a spectacle. I simply walked away. At the time, it felt like I was losing everything. In reality, I was saving myself. Everyone at that party saw exactly what happened. The truth didn't need my help. It spoke for itself. Ethan's real mistake wasn't forgetting my birthday. It wasn't even planning a celebration for Madison. His real mistake was what came afterward. The lies, the harassment, the false reports, the threats, the desperate refusal to accept responsibility. Every bad choice created the next one, until eventually the consequences buried him. 5 weeks earlier, I had walked into a surprise birthday party. Today, Ethan was the one living with the surprise. The realization that one selfish night had destroyed everything he thought he could control. As for me, I got the best birthday gift imaginable: freedom.